Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for joining on time. This is the seventh session out of 12 out of 13 complementary sessions for A2 level. Today, we'll only do exercise on Konjunktiv II because I believe last time I tried just to explain you how it works, but we did not see many examples. Today, we'll just try to focus on examples so that you understand, you get a feel of where you can use it. Yeah, before we do that, we'll just do a quick revision of what we learned last time about Konjunktiv II. Let's do that very quickly. So, uh, as I, you know, so mhm, yeah. So, if you want to say, in English we have questions like who. This is genitive. I apologize. Let me go to the correct slide. Yes, this is the correct slide. Okay. So, whenever you connective zwei is nothing but just think of it as a new variation of a verb. So whenever you have a verb in German language, that verb can be in present tense. You can also use it in past tense. When we say present, we normally say presence. Past tense, we say preteritum. There is then there is one more variation called as connective zwei. Okay. Now, what does it mean? So when you say preteritum, so you are saying the same thing in past tense. For example, ich bin 28 Jahre alt. I'm saying I'm 28 years old. If I say ich war 27 Jahre alt, I'm saying I was 27 years old. Now I'm saying, let's say if I say ich wäre äh, 25 Jahre alt, now I'm saying I would be 25 years old, or I'm just saying something which is not real, which is imaginary. Okay, so connective zwei, you can think it of as something. Whenever you use a verb in its connective zwei format, you are talking about something which is not real, which is hypothetical. It can be a wish, it can be a desire, or it is just something, just think not real. Okay, not real. Uh, Now let's look at some examples. For example, for example, what does it mean? That every verb, as I said, it will have some conjugations like in present tense, presence, then in some in past tense, preteritum. Then it will also have variations in connective zwei. So you have for the verb sein, right? Let me just go one step back and add a slide so that it's much more clear. you know you have the verb sein, right? In present tense you have ich bin, du bist, es, sie ist, ihr seid. And for everything else, for small s, z, capital S, z, and for wir, it is sind, right? So you have ich bin, du bist, sie ist, ihr seid, and this one, right? In past tense, you will have, so in past tense, sein becomes waren. So bin will be ich war, du warst, sie war, ihr wart, and this one will be waren, right? Now, this is presence, this is preteritum. Then it will also have a variation in connective zwei, and that is wären. So, ich wäre, du wärst, sie, I think it is wärt. I'm not sure. You'll have to check. It will, for this one will also be, it will be ihr wärt, and this will be wären, right? So as I said, every verb will have a conjugation table in present tense, in preteritum, in connect.
SGS should be where
It should be wäre. Apologize. Okay, it should be wäre. Yeah, thank you. So it is wäre, right? Now, what I'm saying is that every verb, almost every verb, will have conjugation in connective zwei as well. Now the question is, do you have to know all of their conjugations, like in connective zwei? The answer is no. Okay, so the good thing is that you don't have to. You can learn, you don't have to. Now, which ones should you know for sure? So you should know for you should know the variation of sein, that is wären. Then for haben it is hätten. Modal verbs, so you should know for können, so könnten. Uh, this würden you should know. I'll tell you why you should know. Apart from these three, right? You should know wären, hätten, könnten. If possible, you should also know for sollen. So you have, ich soll, du sollst, sie soll, ihr sollt, and then this one will be sollen, right? This is present tense. Past tense will be, I think, sollte. We'll not go into past tense. We'll talk about Konjunktiv II, right? So Konjunktiv II will be sollte, solltest, sollte, solltet. Now this one will be sollten. So what I'm trying to say is that, so you should know Konjunktiv II of, like, like sein, wären, haben, hätten, können, könnten. You should also know for sollen, sollten, right? Uh, some people will say you should also know for dürfen. It's not that difficult. Dürften, something like that. But you should know for few. Now, what I'm trying to say. So, whenever you want to say something imaginary, and the main verb in that sentence is either, like sein or haben, you should just replace sein or haben with wären and hätten. That's all you have to do, right? Now, if you want to say something where the main verb is not this, okay, the main verb is something like essen, right? If you want to say, I would like to eat, I would like to eat something, I would like to eat pizza, then the main verb is essen. Of course, you can go and learn the Konjunktiv II of essen or every other verb, but there is an easier way to do it. All you have to do is you have to frame the sentence in this way. So for every other verb, you know you should just write whatever this, let's say the subject is ish, okay, and then you should, so let me just write it this way: subject, then you should write würden, then you may or may not have an object, okay, and then you should write the main verb. I'll just write main verb in present tense in infinitive. Now this may all seem a little bit difficult when you talk about it theory, but it's actually easy. So what I'm saying is that, if let's say if you want to say I eat pizza, right, or let's say yeah, I eat pizza. Yeah, okay. Ich esse Pizza. Now instead of saying ich esse, I eat pizza, you want to say I like to eat pizza, you know, or I would like to eat pizza. So you will say ich würde Pizza essen. Okay, you're saying imaginary. I would, I would, not that I like or not that I'm eating. Okay, so what I'm saying is that whenever you are writing a sentence or saying a sentence in which the main verb, the only verb, not the main verb, just the only verb is sein, haben, then you should just go with their Konjunktiv II format. If you are using any other verb, of course, you can just use its Konjunktiv II format, or you can be smart about it and remember this würden, ich würde, du würdest, and this thing, and use this like subject würden. You have to conjugate würden with respect to the given subject, right? If the subject is ich, you say würde. If it's du, würdest. Er ist sie, würde, and so on, right? And the other verb, you just write it as it is, infinitive format. This makes your life easier. Okay. Any questions here? Okay. Let's talk about this Zoltan one more time, right? As I said, like,
Just sorry, actually my throat is completely gone. Uh, what's the difference between sol and solte?
yeah,
Maybe you can just touch on that.
sure, sure,
Just
sure. So the difference, you can mute yourself because there is, yeah. So you have Zolan and Zoltan. We'll also talk about Kyonen uh, and Kyonten, right? So this is the not like verb in present. This is preteritum. This is Konjunktiv II. This is normal. This is Konjunktiv II. Let's talk about this one. What is Zolan and Zoltan? So far, if you have not learned German from anywhere else, I kept telling you that Zolan is something like should. I said something like, not exactly should. Okay, and I was giving you wrong information because at that moment I did not introduce Zoltan to you. So I was just saying, like, think of Zolan as should. But now I am telling you, think of Zolan as shall. Don't think of Zolan as should. Why I'm saying is that, again, I'm saying think of, not exactly. The Zoltan is, uh, so Zolan is, so you should think of, as I said, Konjunktiv II, you know, it, you use it when you are like, something imaginary, wish, uh, politeness. Yeah, Karthikeyan. Okay, you're being polite, or you are suggesting something. Okay, suggesting or like advice. You are giving an advice. Okay, so Zoltan is like when you want to give someone an advice. For example, I will say you should eat healthy food, or you should solve one lead code problem every day. Then I have to use whenever I'm giving an advice. Okay, whenever it is an advice, it is a suggestion, something that is, think of advice, then you have to use Zoltan and you should not use Zolan. Okay, Zoltan is whenever you are giving an advice, use Zoltan. Now, if your question is, what if I'm giving an advice and I use Zolan and not Zoltan? Is it a big deal? No, it's not a big deal. It's just that from now, whenever you're giving an advice, go with Zoltan, because one way or other way to there are ways to think about it. Zoltan is like you're talking about something imaginary. Okay, so you're giving an advice. The person may or may not do it. You're just saying like you should do it. Okay, Zolan is, if I really have to like put my neck out there, if I say Zolan, that means I expect that this is how it will happen. Okay, for example, okay, if I say that if you let's say if I say if you attend all my sessions, that should be enough. Okay, now I'm English, I'm saying that should be enough, but I'm not giving an advice. Okay, so if I'm saying if you attend all my sessions, then that should be enough. This is not an advice. Okay, this is not an advice. So I'm saying, so here if I have to say that should be enough, then I will say das soll reichen. Okay, or das soll genug sein. Okay, now some people will say, okay, now here also you can use Zoltan because it's imaginary, like if you do all that, then that will happen. They are all not wrong. But again, the more we go into deep about it, the more confusing it will become. But for now, understand, whenever you want to give an advice, or whenever someone is giving advice, use Zoltan. Any other scenario, go with Zoltan. If you mix and match, if you use one when the other is to be used, it's not a big deal. I'm not think and as far as I know, teachers are also don't grill you, with them. Okay, I hope that makes sense. If it makes sense, please tell me. Otherwise, I will have to, please ask questions if you still have confusion. Zolan versus Zoltan.
Just looking for an example. I mean, Solon.
So do Zoltest ins fitness studio gain. You should go to gym.
Mhm.
Okay. Ich soll die Aufgabe erledigen. I'm just like this one is like I'm just saying I should do. It's not an advice. It's not an advice. This one is an advice. Okay. If I say do Zol test, then this is now I'm giving someone an advice, like you should do the task, you should finish the task, the Aufgabe, whatever the task has been given to you. So Zoltan is an advice. Zolan, just think, whenever you want to say should, whether it is an advice or not, if it's an advice, go with Zoltan. Any other scenario, go with Zolan. Now, is this the logic that I'm giving, like advice, Zoltan, other way around? Is it foolproof? No. You will still make mistakes, but you will learn something, okay? And it comes with practice, like when to use Zolan, when to use Zoltan. Okay, please ask.
So if it is Zolan means is it order?
No, it's not an order. It's not an order. It can, depending on how you say. I mean, it's not an order. Yeah, it's uh, it's not an order.
Okay, okay,
Depending,
fine.
like on paper, it's not in order. How you say it can, for example, when you watch, if you watch the movie, the series Crown on Netflix, the kings and the queens, they always say, "You shall do that. You shall do that." They are just saying "you shall," but they are actually giving an order, right, to each others, like to people who are below them in the hierarchy. So on paper, it's not an order. Okay. Uh,
Okay.
Don't try
But
to.
last time, don't mistake me. I think last time you told if there is a should is equivalent to Zoltan, something like that. You I
Yeah, yeah.
think
I'm also saying that. So Zoltan is should.
okay. You
Zolan is
should do
not
it.
should. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So in English, it's the same thing. English is the
Okay.
same thing. If you really are looking for a distinction, Zolan is like shall, Zoltan is like should, but it's
Okay.
not 100% true. Okay.
Okay.
It depends
Okay.
on the
Fine.
context. In German language, it depends a lot on the context. Okay.
Okay.
Let's talk
Okay. Fine.
about Kyonen and Kyonten, right? Kyonen and Kyonten, they both mean can. Okay.
Okay.
But for you to understand, like, if I really have, like, what is the difference? Kyonen is like, if I say Karthikeyan, uh, can you help me with something, can you please forward the email, right? I'm just saying, can you forward the email?
Okay.
But if I want to say, could you forward the email, could you is like more polite. I'm not saying like can, I'm saying like, could is like uh,
Yeah. Okay. I
yeah,
got it.
yeah,
Yeah. Got
yeah.
it. Fine.
So a Kyontun, you can think it of as like could, but other way to think of it is it's being very polite. Okay, so whenever you're asking someone for something, use Kyontun. Kyontun Sie das machen. Okay,
Okay.
yeah. It's
Okay. Fine.
one way to other way to think of is this. Like, for example, my if you ask your teacher, like, can you please do this? Teacher will say, I could. I can, but something I could, but I cannot. Something like that. if
Okay.
you if you ask your boss for a salary increase, like, can you increase my salary? Is could you increase? He will say, yeah, I could, but I cannot. Something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
So ich könnte das, aber ich kann das nicht. Something like that.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. Thanks.
Yeah. So as I said, it depends. I'm saying try to use them and see. Okay. I'm saying whenever you
Okay.
are asking for someone for something and you are being polite, use könnten. Okay. When you are giving someone advice, use sollten. Don't use sollen. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So any more questions? Yeah. Okay, if not, no more questions, I think you understand, right? So let's look at some exercises. So guys, please ask questions. Okay, I'm not sure how clear it is, so you please ask questions. So if this is, so anyone who wants to, so I have some sentences I think which are common, and you can, like, these sentences are kind of templates, so we can replace the noun with something else. You can get some different sentence, but the idea is that you try to say these things in German. You don't have to say exactly word to word, you don't have to translate, but you have to, the context should not be for, like, missed. So if the boss were in office, we could ask him for advice. I'm saying, let's say, let's say you and Karthik, like, we are working on a project and we cannot solve the problem, right? And the boss is not there, right? And and you are saying, yeah man, if the boss were here, we could ask him for advice, right? Sad, like, unfortunately the boss is on, we're talking about imaginary things, right? If he was here, then we could do that. Then how do I say this in German language? Anyone who wants to do it, please raise your hand so that I know you can. You want to? Anyone? It's if it's fine. Yeah, Rishabh, go ahead. Yeah,
When the chef, okay, so continue.
Rishabh raised his hand, so yeah, yeah, Rishabh, go ahead.
Okay. Uh, okay, it's connective Zoe format, right?
Yeah, connect. I mean, it's up to you. I mean, of course, it
Am I
cannot be
audible?
something else, right? You are audible, but your voice is like, I understand,
Okay,
but I have to pay attention. Yeah,
okay, okay. Sorry. Yeah. So, should be when their chef uh, in Bureau Vera.
correct. So you are saying, like, you're sein, but connective zwei, so wäre. Yeah,
Yeah. We could ask him for the advice. Um, könnten wir ihn für Rat fragen?
yes. So Rishabh is, I don't know how it's correct, right? But if you want to understand, like, so all you have to, like, of course, you have to know how to use when, and you have to know this is the, like, the Nebensatz, so the verb comes first. But so in the first sentence, there is only one verb, right? Were. So were, like, you're talking about imaginary to be, but imaginary. So you have sign is present tense, waren is past tense. You are looking for imaginary, that is connected to that is wären, right? So Rishabh used wären, and the subject was the boss. The boss is third party singular. You know that is, ich wäre, du wärst, er ist, sie wäre, er ist, sie is third party singular. So wäre. then we could ask him for, here this sentence has two verbs, could and ask. Okay, so ask, as I said, like, when you are here, you will have to use modal verb, können, but you will have to use its Konjunktiv II, could. So könnten, right? And because the subject is we, so we are könnten. Okay, and the other verb will be as it is. I told you, like, treat, uh, you know, if it was, we can ask, you would say wir können fragen. All you have to do is replace können with könnten. That's all, right? So hier ist the sentence. Wenn der Chef im Büro wäre, könnten wir ihn Rat fragen. Okay. Now ask him for advice. You will say, okay, we could ask him. I know how to say we could ask him. Wir können ihn fragen. But I'm saying for advice is, so for advice I'm saying Rat. Of course, you can say, wir könnten wir ihn für Vorschlag fragen. But, you know, you are translating. So I'm saying there are different ways to say the same thing. So this one is that sometimes you have to learn. Now I'm trying to complicate so that you learn something. Whenever you learn a verb, see if there is a phrase that you can use. Okay, so Rat fragen. Also, one more thing. Last session I was telling you that when you learn a verb with how many different prepositions you can use. I told you that if you have a verb, let me go back so that you can recollect what I told you. Here, we did this exercise towards the end. I hope it's visible. I told you that the same verb can be used with different prepositions, right? Something like that, right? So fragen, you can just say, I ask, right? If you want to say ask for something or ask about something, right, then you have to use Okay, so this is what I meant last time. When you learn a verb, see, can you use it with other prepositions? Now you will ask, how do I learn this? You have to use Leo app. Go there. When you learn a verb, check how many different variations are there. Now this sounds too much work, but you just have to do it for 6 months every day for 1 hour. And after 6 months, you don't have to do it because by then you have enough vocabulary. So, here, Rad Fra. Anyone has questions about this before I go on over here? Like, why did we write it like this? So yeah.
I just one question: why in is dative?
It's a mistake. It's a mistake. It should be accusative. It's a mistake.
Okay, yeah,
It's
yeah.
accusative. Yeah. Yeah. Any questions about like the sentence structure? Like here we have the verb at the last position. Here we have the verb at the first position. Any questions? Okay. If there is someone who, please ask. Let's say that. So when you use when, right, the verb has to go at the last position. And when you write two sentences together, the second sentence that is after comma is considered to be the subordinate clause or the Nebensatz. There the conjugated verb has to be at the first position. If you just say we could ask him for advice, you will say wir könnten ihn Rat fragen, right? But this is the, like, after comma, this is like the second sentence, okay, the subordinate clause or Nebensatz. That's why it is over here. In exam, if you write, if instead of writing wenn der Chef in Büro wäre, könnten wir ihn Rat fragen. Instead of this, if you write wir könnten ihn Rat fragen after comma, the examiner will cut your marks. In real life, no one cares. Okay, yeah. Now, as I said, let's, fragen. Fragen means to ask, but if you want to say, like, ask for something, right? So to ask someone for advice, advice is Rat. Okay, jemanden etwas Rat fragen. To ask for permission, jemanden, someone, Erlaubnis. So to ask someone for permission. Okay, so you can replace Rat, Erlaubnis, which whatever noun you see fits over here. Any questions? Okay. Yeah, you can. Yeah, I have example in my head. I don't think it's correct to say it right now. Let's look at the next one. Yeah, Santosh, if you don't mind, can you tell me how do I say this in German? So it would be desirable, the comma is missing, if all colleagues came on time to the meeting.
No, it's not difficult for me.
It's okay if you don't know the, like, if you don't know how to say desirable, it's fine. Just tell me how do I say it would be blah blah.
As would.
How do I say it would be blah blah? Blah blah can be anything.
I don't know. Would is.
No, don't translate. Don't translate. See how many verbs. There is only one verb in the sentence, right? To be. So I can say it is desirable. It was desirable. I'm saying
Okay, it's okay. It's where, right?
correct. Correct. Now you get the logic, right? Yeah. So desirable, and okay, you don't know. How do I say, all colleagues came on time? How do I say, like, I'm saying imaginary, like, I come, I came, but I'm saying, like, if I came, you know what I'm saying? Like imaginary. Now think.
I like colleague and count.
So no, no. I told you that, whenever you are using a verb which is not waren, hätten, you can take help of this another verb.
Würde.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alle Kollegen uh,
Just tell,
würde.
yeah, alle Kollegen.
Alle Kollegen. Okay. Alle Kollegen würden. Uh, yeah.
Common. That's it.
Comment. Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
Now
Yeah.
you have to, like,
Yeah.
add in the fillers. How do you say, like, on time, and so on? How do you say desirable?
English or. Yeah.
If it's possible, and I'm saying, like, you understand the logic, right? Now you can try to, like,
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning you should try to say simple things, but this is something you can imagine, like,
Mm-hmm.
it would be desirable, you can use it for a friend, like, who is always late. It would be desirable if blah 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 blah, you can say it would be blah, whatever it is. Okay, anyone knows what desirable is? Okay, how do you say on time? You have this announcement, right? Sometimes the train comes on time.
On time is English.
Correct.
No.
Pünktlich.
No. Not
Pünktlich.
yeah.
Yeah,
English.
you can say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So you can read this if you want to, Santosh, the entire sentence in German.
Oh, es wäre wünschenswert oder erwünscht, wenn alle Kollegen pünktlich zur Besprechung auch kämen.
Now,
That's a new
this
word.
sentence, no, I'm saying, like, here I did not use Wuden, but I told you to use Wuden because this is how life gets difficult if you don't use Wuden. You have to know what is the connected zwei of common. Yeah, Rishabh, please ask.
If I want to use participles or like the haben sein thing, so can we say that in the second sentence, wenn alle Kollegen pünktlich zur Besprechung kämen, instead can I say alle Kollegen wären pünktlich zu der Besprechung gekommen.
Yeah, you can say that. So what Rishabh is saying, that he's saying something in past tense, So he's saying something in past tense, but he's saying something imaginary in past tense. So let me just go back. Thank you very much for the question.
Because I don't know because like I don't know the
Yeah,
Cayman this word of
yeah,
so
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I come, I came, and you know, I could have, I could come. I Let me use some. I could have come. Right now, try to understand, guys. This may so okay. So I come is like ich komme. You know. Next one is I came. Ich bin gekommen. Next one is I could come. You're still saying in present tense, right? So ich würde kommen. Right now you want to say something imaginary in past tense. I could have come, like, past tense. I could have come. Now if you want to say something in past tense, just try to see how you can say it in past tense. If you want to say, I came, you would have said ich bin gekommen. Now you want to say this past thing, like something that could have happened in the past tense. All you have to do is use the Konjunktiv II of the helping verb. So if it has been, you will say wäre. Make sense? Okay. Now what Rishabh pointed out, I told you that, like Santosh could have just said, like, alle Kollegen zur Besprechung kommen würden. That's not, technically that's wrong, you know, but I did not want to, like, confuse you with this. Like, you can also say things in past tense using Konjunktiv II. Okay. So technically, if what so Santosh said, when alle Kollegen pünktlich zur Besprechung kommen würden. This is what his answer was. I said it's fine. Okay. But more correct answer will be gekommen wären, because you're talking about something that happened in the past. Okay. I hope it makes sense. What I'm trying to say is that, blah 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 blah. Wenn alle Kollegen pünktlich zur Besprechung gekommen wären. Okay, this will be the correct answer. Gekommen wären. Okay, all you have to do is,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah. So when you want to say something in past tense, when you want to say, so normally when you say something in past tense using perfect, subject, you have either haben or sein. You may or may not have the object, and towards the end you have participe zwei, or the, let's say, called the main verb in participe zwei. This is how you say something in past tense, right? Now you want to say something in past tense, but something imaginary in past tense. So instead of haben, you just have to use hätten, and instead of sein, you have to use wären. That's all. German is an easy language if you really look at it. More questions? Okay, if there are no more, guys, try to, see, for example, say, it would be desirable if blah blah, So erwünschenswert, erwünscht. There can be other adjectives to say desirable, but I normally used erwünscht. Okay, if I want to say something. Any questions about? Okay,
I was trying to recollect this. So wenn alle Kollegen pünktlich zur Besprechung gekommen wären,
yeah,
the wären can't end because of when,
yeah.
right?
So when you use when, right? So the idea behind, so when you use when, so normally you have subject, verb, object. Okay, if it's like, uh, so this is a normal sentence, uh, or you may have subject, modal verb, object, and the actual verb, right? The and all you have to think is, like, in normal sentence, like, you conjugate this one, right? If you're using modal verb, you conjugate this one, right? The moment you use when, what happens is that you have to take this verb and keep it at the last position, the verb which is being conjugated. If you use when over here, all you have to do is the verb which has been, when I say conjugated, like the verb which spelling changes with respect to the, makes sense. That's why you have over here, right? Okay.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. More questions? Okay. Understand, right? This one, like, it would be desirable. All you have to think, like, it would be desirable. How do I say in present tense? It is desirable. It was desirable. Now I'm saying something. Okay. uh, Now you're thinking, like, how do I do this in real time? When I want to say something, you cannot do it in real time. You have to practice. That's why I'm saying, sit down every day, divide your day into 32 pieces, each piece of half an hour. Write things that happen in your life in those half an hour. Or, when you have any meeting, important meeting, think about that part of your day, Monday to Friday, where you have to speak German, or where you want to speak German. After the meeting, note down what all happened, and then try to write those things in English, and see if you can write those in German, and then try to say them 5 to 10 times, so that when the next time the opportunity comes, your brain is ready to say those things out. Okay, so real time will be difficult. Okay, let's look at the next one. Yes, anyone who wants to try apart from Rishabh and Santosh? Abhiram, Abhiram,
Yes.
please try. This all those who work in IT know this. So it's fine if you don't know how to say technical support,
Okay.
or all you have to tell me, like, if the blah blah were always blah blah. We could solve
Mm,
the blah blah
when
more blah blah. Yeah.
okay.
Or you can tell me how to, or
Mm,
you can say,
one
you can
second.
just use
What?
English word. Technical support as it is, technical support. Don't
Yeah,
put in.
but what is one second? Where I'm just thinking about where for the
Replace,
conjunctives why.
yeah. What is
Wo- Okay. Where, wenn dieser Techniker Unterschutz war immer verfügbar, können wir die Techniker-Problem mehr schnell resolvieren, oder? Ja.
okay? So if you say it, I know what you're saying, but you did not use connected SWI anywhere. So you just said, like,
Yes, yes,
you,
yes.
you said it in past tense. I'm saying imaginary situation. If so, so sein is present tense. Ich bin, du bist, er ist, sie ist. Waren is past tense. You have to use wären, imaginary. So
Mhm.
if
Mhm.
the technical support, when the technical support uh, immer erreichbar wäre. If you
Okay.
okay, we could solve. You are saying we could solve. Könnten. Okay, and how do you say solve? Lösen. There are many ways to say solve. One way is to lösen. Okay, uh,
Ja, losen.
right? Quick is schnell, and
Ja.
quicker. I can, instead of saying more quickly, I can say quicker. So schnell, schneller. Okay, we did this in the
Ja.
second last session. I told you, like, gut, besser, am besten, schnell, schneller, schnellsten. Okay, so you
Mhm.
said mehr.
Mhm.
Mehr is not correct. Okay, so you can read the sentence,
Okay.
Abhiraj, the entire sentence.
One second. So, wenn die Techniker Unterschutz immer erreichbar waren,
No, don't try to eat words.
könnten wir die
Say the
Techniker.
entire word. Say the entire word.
Okay. Wenn die Techniker-Unterstützung immer erreichbar wäre,
Not vara. This a umlaut,
könnt,
right? How do you say? You say
wäre,
air in English and
wäre,
just don't say the r part. Air. So this a
wäre,
umlaut, you say, yeah, vera. Correct.
wäre, 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 könnten wir die technischen Probleme schneller lösen.
Okay. So now, you should be smart. This sentence teaches you a lot of things, right? First of all, it teaches you how to use Konjunktiv II. It teaches you when you use when,
Mhm,
the conjugated verb goes to the last
mhm,
position. Okay. It also teaches you that,
mhm,
how can you use modal verb in Konjunktiv II, right? So, also it teaches you that, you have this, the problem, it's fine. Now you are using a adjective, right? So technical is
mhm.
technisch, but I'm saying technician. Now why it is
Technisch.
technician and not technicius, technischer, or whatever else? The reason is you learned adjective endings, and I told you adjective endings, whenever it is plural, dative, genitive, the adjective ending is n. Plural, dative, genitive,
Yes.
adjective ending is n. And the moment you see problema, plural, the ending will be n. Okay. In exam,
Mhm.
if you, instead of n, you write air, some, they will cut your marks. In real life, no one cares. I mean, most of the people don't care. People I know don't care. Okay. Questions about this?
If this question, if the statement is put differently, like the Nebensätzen comes, like, we could solve the technical problems more quickly if the technical support were always available. If
Yeah.
that is the sentence framed, then it will be like we are content the technician problem schneller lösen. The same, right? When the technician unterstützen immer
Correct.
erreichbar wäre.
Correct. So when this sentence is the main sentence, right? So all, like the subject will add, like the conjugated verb will be at the second position. You gave the answer. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's how you should think. Like, yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah. Yeah. You know Now, you can write many sentences, replace technical, uh, you can think about, this is a place where you can bicker, think about all the things that could be better. When blah blah, then blah, when this was true, then this would be better, something like that. Try to write sentences like this. Okay. Yeah. Questions? Okay. If not, uh, be careful with the pronunciation, right? Instead of saying vera, if you say vara, it just loses the meaning entirely. Okay, so this umlaut, whenever you want to say umlaut, one stupid way to remember how to say umlaut is how, whenever you want to say this umlaut, how do you pronounce this one? You say air in English, right? Air. Just say air without the R part. Air. Okay, or just say a. That's also fine. I'm not saying that's correct all the time. I'm saying it's better than saying ah. Okay. Now, when you learn a
So it
verb,
is where,
vera, vera, yeah, where, but
where.
you have
Yeah,
vera, right? Yeah, yeah, vera,
yeah, where.
right.
Okay.
Now, listen is one. Now how do you? And I told you, like, when you learn a verb, think how many different ways you can use it, right? So etwas accusative lösen to solve something, right? Uh, the same verb, if I put a prefix over here, auslösen, it means to trigger something. Can you think of an example? Anyone? To trigger something? Something gets triggered. Those who live in Germany, we all, I mean, of
Fire
course,
alarms.
yes, fire alarm. Like, yeah. So, the alarm gets triggered, right? The fire alarm wird ausgelöst. Okay. Yeah. Uh, I'm not sure if you can use it, like, for example, there are people in our life, like he triggers me all the time, like he just, whenever I see him, I don't think you can use it over there. So don't use, I mean, yeah. Auflösen, sich accusative auflösen is a reflexive verb. We learned this in the first session, you know, to dissolve. For example, when you put salt in water, it dissolves. Salz löst sich ins Wasser auf. Okay. Now, the noun Auflösung. What does this mean, anyone? Auflösung? Auflösung. Whenever you buy a screen, right, there are some things that you look for. One thing that you look for is that, you know, resolution.
Pixels.
Crack.
No, 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 no. No.
Pixels.
Pixels, right? Pixels is one thing, but Auflösung means resolution. Okay, resolution of something. Now you're saying, okay, this is a resolution. Now, whenever a new year starts, we have a resolution. That is not this resolution. That is a different resolution. Okay, I can't think of the noun for that, but I'm saying, uh, okay, I'm telling you how complicated it can be. It's not always that complicated. I'm just saying. So, for example, I don't think you will need the verb auflösen, sich accusative auflösen. You don't need that. But I'm saying, uh, don't learn these verbs. Think, go in leo.app. Let me just do it for you. So here, if I write lösen, yeah, no problem. You have, like, I don't know if you can see it, you know, to resolve something and so on, right? Right. What else you can do is, right, you can write, uh, you know, lösen prefix or something like that. Then you will get all the prefixes that you can use along with lösen and how the meaning changes. Okay, is what I'm trying to say. Let's do one more example. I'm saying learn the verbs that are relevant for your life, okay? Or you can just, if you're preparing for an exam, learn all the verbs that the book is telling you, the vocabulary book. Okay, anyone wants to try? Let's see who else can try.
I,
Who? Aviram, you tried already. Yeah,
okay.
Jagdish, do you want to try? If we had more resources, we could complete the project early. Everyone says this. Yeah, you can say no. It's fine.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
uh, yeah, I would say resources.
resource
What do
is
we
not.
say?
So just tell me how do I? So for example, I have, I had, if
Hmm?
I had. How do I say I have?
Uh,
The verb is haben.
Ishwar.
No, no.
Oh,
War is like to be. The here the verb is haben. So ich habe.
Nishaba.
Okay.
More.
Let me go back so that I can. So is it not clear or so?
No, 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 no.
Okay, I think I gave you the answer. Okay, let me. Okay, so you want to say, let me just. Some of you may already give the answer, but let's see. Okay, so I have. I will say ish habe. Okay, I had. I will say ish hatte. Now I'm
Yeah.
saying I had, but I'm saying like imaginary. Okay, like if I had. Okay, to say this imaginary, I had, you will have to say. Let's say this if is in brackets. You want to say imaginary, right? Not real. If
Mm.
something, then you will have to say ish hätte.
Ich hätte.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, right. So something like if I want to say I am, I will say ich bin. If I want to say I was, ich war. If I want to say I were, if something, like to be imaginary, ich wäre. Okay. How do we know this? Because we learned uh, this table last time. Okay, wären, hätten, something like that. Okay, so tell me, how do I say this? If we had. So I'm not saying I'm saying we. So for we, the conjugation will be different. It will be hätten. Okay,
Yeah. Wir
so
hätten
yeah, yeah. How do you say more in German? Like, how do you say less or more?
uh, more, mehr or
Mehr, correct. Mehr. Resources, it's exactly the same thing. Instead of resources, you have n at the end. So Ressourcen.
Ressourcen. Okay.
Yeah. So when we are mehr Ressourcen hätten. Now, okay. So we could complete the project early. So could complete, forget the project. You have to say we could complete. Okay. How do you say complete something
Complete is
as a verb?
fetish.
Uh,
Ah,
as a verb.
verb.
Fetish machen, you can say that. Yeah. How do you say could? Like could, you have to use a
Content or
content, right? Wir könnten fertig machen.
uh,
There are other ways to say, like erledigen, many ways to
ledigen.
say
Yeah.
complete, right? But
Mm.
and you have to say wir könnten blah blah. So early, how do you say early in German? Early morning. There is early shift,
Early.
late shift, früh.
Mm,
It's früh.
Fluent, right? Yeah.
Yeah, früher will be earlier. Okay, we are just
Früher.
saying
Fluent
early.
is
Yeah, früh. Okay, so if you
Früh.
let me just tell you. So if you say, so früh is early,
Mhm.
früher is earlier, frühesten is like earliest. Something like uh, schnell, fast. Schneller is faster. We discussed this, I think, in the session before. Okay, so please go through that. Okay,
Okay.
yeah. So this is how you now think of, like these are examples
Mm,
that I
okay.
that were relevant to my life. Think of examples that you can write.
Okay.
So I mean, because I know you, Jagdish, I don't think you will have this, but like those who, if you're going to have, like, if you are in that phase where you're looking for promotion or something like that, and your boss asks you, like, how could I help you better, right? How something you can say, if I had this, blah, blah, then we could, blah, blah. Think of those
Mhm.
sentences. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't think it applies to you.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
When we are mere headcount Sutton, Kyunton we are the project for fetish marken. Is it right?
What do you mean by head counts?
Headcounts means more people.
Yeah, you can say that. Mehr Leute. Yeah. So head counts, I think it's relevant
Mere
to your
lot. Yeah.
profession, right? Amazon. You can do that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
You can say it. Like you don't have to like use the, like I'm saying, like try to don't try to speak like, don't say I will say everything in German. Start. You can say German and add English words. Okay. You can say head counts. It's fine.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. If that is
Yes.
everyone understand, you can say that. It's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh, this is wenn wir mehr Ressourcen hätten, könnten wir das Projekt früh. I'm saying abschließen. In the I said like fertig machen, erledigen. Erledigen is not complete. Erledigen is like done. You know. Uh, uh, fertig machen, you can say it, but fertig machen also has one more meaning. You know. For example, I remember one professor saw that like some of my friends were not being nice to me, and he's like, "Hey, please stop." You know, like he said, like bitte hört auf, ruhig fertig zu machen. Like it means like to bother someone in like in a cheerful way, or how your friends treat you. So fertig machen also has that meaning. You can say abschließen. Complete finish. You say you finish your masters. Master abschließen, bachelor abschließen, something like that.
What is abgeschlossen then?
Abgeschlossen is participle zwei of abschließen. It means closed. Not done. For
Okay.
example, if you say we finished the project, if I say want to say I finished my masters in 2020, ich habe mein
Ja,
Master
ich
in
habe
2000.
meine Masters in 2022 abgeschlossen.
Yeah,
I
participle zwei.
cannot say that.
You can say that. You have to say,
Okay.
yeah, you're right. It's participle zwei of abschließen.
Okay.
But that won't fit in this context, right?
I completed my.
Free up.
No. He's saying like where else can you use abschließen? Abhiram is saying like where else can you
Okay.
use abschließen? So master abschließen. Ich schließe I finished my masters. I completed my masters. So ich habe mein Master abgeschlossen. Makes sense? Please ask if it does not make sense. So what Abhiram just said, he said something in past tense. He said like you want to say something in past tense using participle zwei. So you have subject. You can use haben or sein. You may or may not have object, and you write the other verb in participle zwei format. Okay. So Abhiram said, like finished. So participle zwei of abschließen is abgeschlossen,
Oh, okay. Ich habe meine Masters abgeschlossen.
right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. There is a chance that this call may end. What we can do is, like I can end this call. I can post the link for the next call, and you can join that.